Hello. It says I'm live. I am alive. Hello. Let's see who's here. Lynn. Lynn, I want you to know that I planted my tomato plant. I went crazy this weekend planting, and I know that I've had it for a little while. I purchased all my tomatoes maybe 2 weeks ago. I have 22. So I'll be feeding my family and then some. So anyway, I planted it, and I'm super excited to see what happens with my lava flow. So thank you. And yeah, so if you want to let me know how you're doing, if anything's going on in particular that is bothering you guys with your bodies or your minds. So that's a big part of this too, right? Yoga is a lot about the mind. It's just for the body, but actually yoga is mostly for the mind. The body part is important, but really it's the mind and being able to manage our mind that is really going to bring us the deepest healing that we can experience in our lives. So good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Stevie. Look, I have this here for you guys. So for those of you that were practicing with me in person, you know that at the end of class, I always go around with essential oils to help with the relaxation part of class. So I planted a new rose bush this weekend. You know, I've been planting so much. I planted 2 rose bushes where I had to dig really, really deep to get them in there. And I'm, shifting things in my garden. So I'm finding spots where I could plant something here, I could plant something there. Anyway, so I planted this new rose bush this week, and it's really beautiful. And this, I guess, because it's so precarious, the sprinkler was a little too hard. So it actually knocked this off. And so I put it in a bowl. And you're not here with me, but if we were together, you could actually smell this. I probably would take it around the room and let everybody smell it. So it is beautiful. And then it also smells beautiful. So just close your eyes and imagine that you can take a beautiful inhale of a lovely rose scent. So I'm going to keep that here to look at, to have a nice little memory. All right. Or a reminder. All right, let me see. So Kathy, good morning. So a lot of my regular Wednesday people are here. Oh, I was going to say, where's Nancy? But that's right. I think she got in touch with me, so she won't be joining us. And it looks like there's no boys yet, unless Steve is out there, who is a major yogi these days. And he could potentially be there. And Angie and Dan, so there's another boy. All right. Trying to talk my neighbor into yoga this morning. And he's intrigued, he said. So we'll see what happens. All right. So if there's nothing that is going on with you guys that you'd like to share with me, if there is, I'd love to hear about it. I had some thoughts for today that this is, let me see, I'm going to come back here into this. All right. So this is my Yoga for Wellness class, and it makes me think of all of the ways that I could take care of myself. It makes me think about the yummy things to do. It makes me think about the stretching aspect of the practice. It makes me think about the strength aspect and where it's important to have strength. And I'd like to say that we only need what we need. So it's not about doing too much or bringing in a lot of strong aspects. Yoga, people think of yoga as a physical practice and that it has to be strong and hard. And if you don't get a workout, then we're not doing anything. And I'd like to say it really is a work in. It's about connecting to yourself and realizing what's important to ourselves and sensory withdrawal, bringing ourselves to this moment, which is where the real value in healing takes place. And if we listen to the studies that say that 90% of all illness is related to stress, then that's where yoga can really come in, because stress is when we ask for more than whatever we're asking for, whoever we're asking it from, more than what it can handle. And so we're always asking for a lot from our bodies. We're asking our bodies to reach for this, grab that, bend down here, plant this thing, whatever it is we're asking. And we need to make sure that we maintain what we live in. So a lot of maintenance aspects of today. I would like us to begin with a really nice supported pose that's going to be great for chest opening. This is something that's going to be called Supta Pada Gustasana. Supta Pada Gustasana. And I think that's what it's called anyway. Oh my gosh. I don't use the Sanskrit terms as often anymore. And I don't even know that I name all the postures. I really think about what they're doing and the intention of the posture. So I'd like us to have an elevation of what we're going to come and lie down on. So it could be a higher elevation or lower elevation, depending on how limber your body is or what you're feeling like. So I'm showing you it with traditional props, and then you can get things that replicate this. If you didn't have a bolster, which a lot of you don't, get a few pillows, maybe even pillows from your bed that are the length of your torso, that you could lay down and then lay one across at the top underneath. So there is an elevation of your body, and then maybe some head support that you'll need. I'd also like you to have for today's practice a block, which I'm using underneath here, and a strap. And I'd like to do a lot today with stretching the muscles of the legs from many different angles. So I really would like you to have a strap today. It does not have to be a traditional yoga belt. It could be a strap from your robe, or it could be a belt from your closet, or even a stretchy band. I would be okay with that as well. And then something for underneath your knees would be really great, because that's I'd like a little open leg presentation here. And if you have something for underneath your knees, then we can get our knees to open out to the sides and allow for an opening this center area here where there's large blood vessels that go down to the body. So really creating a beautiful flow of your fluids and allowing unobstruction to be in the body. So that's important. So go ahead and gather everything you need to gather. And then when you gather everything, come to a position where you can either be like this, if your body still bends like this, sitting in hero's pose, or sitting in crisscross leg position. So whatever it is, we're just going to begin in this seated position, bringing your awareness to this moment. Close your eyes. Yoga is a work in, not a work out. So I'd like you to bring yourself inward and bring yourself to a place where you can start to notice your body. We're going to use a practice in yoga of visualization. So I'd like you to visualize movement. So if any of you have issues in your tissues, maybe even seeing me coming into this bent knee position and realizing that you're not going to be able to bend like this, I'd like you to remember a time, or think of a time, or think of a movement pattern you'd like in your body. So maybe it would be for you to be able to walk without pain, without feeling your knees, without feeling your hips. Maybe for you, it would be to walk because you're too worried about falling and you don't go out and walk anymore. Maybe for you, it would be to play tennis because you haven't done that and you used to. Or to, I'm not going to say run, because running is really a lot of wear and tear on our joints, and we need to take care of our joints. So when you're younger, maybe, but really as you get older, there's a lot of wear and tear that comes into the joints from all that compressive force. I'm sure there's many that will disagree, but there's also a lot that will agree. So let's go with any movement patterns that you'd like. And I'd like you to visualize yourself doing whatever it is you are thinking of. So if it's walking, think of walking. There was a time in my life where all I wanted to do was to be able to walk. Even walk maybe a quarter of a mile. And when you're doing the thing you're visualizing, so if it's playing tennis, see yourself playing tennis, feel the heat of the sun on your skin, feel the bounce in your feet as you're bouncing, getting ready for a ball to come over the net. If it is walking, think about your feet touching the floor, one and then the other and the other and the other. And whatever the activity is you'd like to see yourself doing that maybe you're not able to do anymore, or you've slowed down doing, I'd like you to visualize whatever that is that you do and bring with it as many sensory aspects as you can. If it's swimming, I want you to feel the coolness of the water on your body, the weightlessness of your body floating in the pool, the rotation of your head to take a breath, the reaching of the arms, the stretching, and the fluidity of that movement. So feel the fluid aspect of your body in whatever it is you're visualizing: walking, skipping, hula hooping, cartwheeling, jumping, jacking, tennis, and everything you can. What does it smell like wherever you are in your mind? What does it smell like? If you're out walking, is the earth wet? So do you feel that cushion under your feet? Do you smell the dirt in the air or the flowers in the air? What does it sound like? Bring your awareness to your heart. What does it feel like for you to be doing that activity that you want to do, used to do? See yourself doing it and all the sensory aspects of that. And take one more breath. Bring your awareness to your eyes as you gently allow your eyes to blink themselves open. So there's a lot to be said about visualization because everything is made out of energy. And when we start to visualize something in our lives, especially if it's something that's attainable, then we actually maybe start doing behaviors in our lives every day to get us to that place because we desire that and want to do that again. So it can be a driver for many of us if we have certain issues that we need to overcome, to have something that we're visualizing and have in front of us. It's a really powerful thing to do. Okay. I know for me, when I had my hip injuries, I just wanted to walk again. Like that was just, let me just walk. And now I walk every day, 2.5 miles on the earth, smelling the dirt, feeling the air on my skin, listening to the birds, watching the squirrels, watching the bunny rabbits. It's really amazing. Okay. So let's come into our first posture of the day. Now, this posture that we're going to put ourselves in is to create openness, to create a flow in the body. And then it's going to be a really nice chest opener. So it's great to take sitting out of the body and forward movement out of the body. So it can be beneficial for posture, for alignment, which can then be beneficial for our internal physiology, which can be good for our bones. So my whole focus is on raising awareness to bone health. Whether or not you have an osteoporosis diagnosis, the chances of us women getting it are 50%, and 50% of us will break a bone in our lives because of it. So I'd like to raise the awareness to it because that's a pretty substantial statistic, greater than any other statistic I could think of, greater than our chances to get diabetes, cancer, heart disease. All right, so it's something we need to really think about. So I'm going to put myself in this position and I'd like you to see what I'm doing and try to find this shape. It's not about what the things are I'm using. It's about the shape I'm bringing myself into. Okay, so the prop is right behind my lower back. And then I'm going to place my spine on that prop. My other prop, now this is a pretty big prop underneath my legs. So it could be a pillow for you. And the soles of the feet come together and the knees open out. So the kneecaps are facing away from you diagonally, right? They're not straight up towards the sky. And that's going to open up this inner groin area where the major blood vessels go down to the feet and come back up to the heart. So this is a really important to have this openness here. Then let the legs be heavy. Support your head if you need it. Let it only be underneath the head. If you have an extra blanket under here, let it be underneath your head so that your spine is on whatever it is you've chosen. And then maybe for some of you, you don't need a blanket under your head. So see what feels appropriate for you. And then if you lengthen your head, tuck your chin down towards your chest so the back head is nice and long. We're really going to set ourselves up here to be able to receive the benefits of this posture. Then taking your arms out to the side. So when you do this, bring your arms down low first so the elbows are closer to the waist. So there is an intention here with this posture, which is why I'm going to direct you deeply into it. You're going to take your arms down so they're close to your body, close to the waist, and then place the elbows near or on the floor and allow the hands, keep the elbows on the floor, allow the hands to move towards the floor. So this is going to stretch rotator cuff muscles. And that's why I want it to be done like this, to really get there, so that you don't let the big movers, the deltoids and the pectorals, take over. We get some of those smaller muscles to be doing a little opening. And then notice if that brings tension into the upper back or neck. Press your head into your prop so you feel a little release in the upper back area. And then if you'd like to explore something else, you could stretch your arms away from you, bringing that stretch into the other parts of your arm or chest. And for each of us, it's going to be different. So I'd like you to explore what feels appropriate for you in your body. Yeah, Supta Baddha Konasana. That's what this is, Supta Baddha Konasana. So allow yourself to arrive to this. Feel the heaviness of the legs one at a time. And then feel the heaviness of your buttocks. So wherever your pelvis is, let it be heavy, please. Feel the support of your spine. Feel the heaviness of the left arm. Let it be heavy, let it go. And then bring your awareness to the right arm. Let that be heavy and let it go. And bring your awareness to your head. So the average head is about 10 pounds. Let that 10-pound weight go. I want you, when you let go of your head, so think about a 10-pound weight. That's a really heavy weight. Some of us can't even do a bicep curl with that weight. It's so heavy, right? So it's heavier than you think. And that's what your head weighs, 8 to 12 pounds. So let's say 10 pounds. I want you to bring your awareness to the back of your head, this 10-pound head of yours. And as you think about letting it go, I want you to bring your awareness to your neck and your upper back when you think about taking that 10 pounds and letting go. See if your upper back and neck responds, especially those of you that have upper back and neck tension. Let your body know that now is the time to let go. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. Bring your awareness to your mouth. Let your lips touch. Let the back teeth separate so that you bring relaxation into your jaw. And then bring your awareness to your breath. Now it's time to connect our body and our mind through our breath. So bring your awareness to your breath. Notice it, follow it, focus on it. And then feel your chest expand and contract as you breathe. And then feel your chest respond as the breath comes in. And I'd like to introduce a breath here. It's called Sukha Pranayama. And Sukha is peace or ease. And we're going to relax, use this relaxing breath. So if you bring your awareness down to the lower ribs, in the front of your body, and then all the way around that whole diameter of the lower ribs. So even feel the back part as you breathe. You're breathing down to those lower ribs. Breathe down, breathe to the sides, and breathe back. So I'm going to count 6 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale, so we can even out our breath. We'll take a pause at the top and a pause at the bottom, and you'll see if for you that's a good count. If not, maybe after, when you practice this, you could go to a 4 count or a 5 count. I'm going to go to a 6 count. So let's prepare. Let's take an exhale and then begin breathing down to the low ribs. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Continue on your own counting, whatever count is good for you. Focus on the counting. Make sure you take your pause. Staying with your breath. Finishing up this breath that you're on, take 3 more breaths, counting, noticing, feeling, experiencing. And when you finish the last breath, let the breath go. Bring your awareness to your body. Bring your awareness all the way up to your head, to your neck. Feel the back of the head pressing into whatever is supporting it. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, let your head turn towards one direction. Go as far as you can, feeling that stretch, maybe in the opposite side of your body. Inhale to come back up to center. Exhale, let your head go in the opposite direction. Inhale back up to center. Go slow and go to the place where you actually feel a deep stretch in your neck area and maybe even upper back. I'd like you to bring your awareness to your chin when you do this. So don't pick your head up and turn your head. That's one thing I notice people doing. Think about your chin making a rainbow shape so that when you come all the way to one side, your chin is near your armpit. And then follow the chin as it comes up as you inhale to center. And then you exhale towards the other armpit, almost as if you were going to sniff one armpit and then come up to sniff the other side. Go slow here, starting to lubricate the spine that's in the neck, that makes up the neck, creating fluids between those vertebrae and stretching the ligaments, tendons, muscles, and fascia of the upper back neck area, which is going to help to free up flow of your nerves, flow of your lymph, flow of your blood, flow of your fluids, the water that goes through the tissues. And then when you finish, bring yourself back to center, bring your arms up. Let's take the arms overhead, if that feels appropriate for you, and then come into a bent arm position, like as if you were laying on the snow, getting ready to make snow angels. And you're going to inhale to let your arms go slow here. So for those of you with shoulder issues, notice what's happening in your shoulder. If you're not able to do the movement, I'd like you to visualize doing the movement. So if you have a shoulder that won't let you move it too much, you move the other shoulder or visualize moving the shoulders in the full range of motion so that the hands come above your head, almost to touch above your head, stretching all the tissue that is a part of this movement. Let your elbows come down towards your waist. Palms stay up towards the sky. Go slow, either visualizing that you're doing it or actually doing it. Keep this range of motion in your joints. And then one more. And then go ahead. Bring your hands over your eyes. The eyes probably are pretty heavy right around now. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. And then bring your kneecaps, so your kneecaps face back up to the sky. Just check in with yourself to see how you're feeling. It's important that we allow our body to come to places of relaxation throughout our day, because you don't want it to be that the first time you actually stop is when you lay down at night to go to sleep, or it'll be really hard to actually fall asleep. So we want to practice these states of relaxation, almost training the body like, here you go, here's how you relax, here's how you relax. So whatever you need to do to come up, you could push away the prop that's underneath your knees. You could roll to the side, either all the way off of your prop, or you could stay on it. And then you're going to push your hand into the floor, push your elbow into the floor, or push away from the floor if you didn't go all the way down, and bring yourself up. So that actually has many different aspects to it, bringing in the visualization today. There was a study done on basketball players that they did a warm-up series and then they shot basketballs to make points. And there was two different groups. One actually went through the whole pattern of practice. They dribbled, they walked up to the basket, wherever it was they were shooting from. They did whatever they needed to do to prepare so that when the contest or the time came to see how many points the team could get, they would keep score. So there was a team that practiced and a team that didn't practice. And the team that didn't practice was told to visualize practicing. So they visualized themselves practicing, but they didn't actually practice. There was no physical movement in their bodies. One physically moved, one didn't. One thought about doing it, the other one was doing it and thinking. When it came time to do the actual test, both teams scored the same. And maybe even the team that visualized scored a little better, to just show that you don't always have to do the movement to actually bring it into your body or into your being, which is why today I focused a lot on that visualization. And that whole shoulder movement there to keep the shoulder moving is so important for health and well-being. Lying on our backs for all of that time hydrated our spine. So we just gave ourselves a spine bath in that position. So let's take our props, move your props out of the way. At least the pillow part of the props. You're still gonna need your strap and you're gonna need your block and either a blanket or two, depending on, I say that because for those of you that have issues, sometimes if you have knees that don't like to be on the ground, you may need to have an extra blanket. Or, I don't know what the issues are. I know when I had my hip issues, I had to have an extra block to support my leg when I would do things. Okay, so let's come to a seat here, come to a seat, and let's take our legs wide. So we're gonna start pretty big here. And I don't even have you propped up on a blanket. So you're on the floor because I'd like you to feel the sits bones on the floor. And for some of you, and maybe even many of you, this is a challenge and you're like, oh my goodness. This is a different angle of the leg in the joint than it may be, that maybe it's not a position you find yourself in. So we just did a lot for one of the balls, which is the shoulder joint. Now the other ball and socket is that hip joint. So keep your legs really wide here and reach underneath, grab a hunk of flesh, lift the flesh up, take the flesh up and back so that you have a really nice opportunity to feel those sits bones. And for some of you, if this is feeling really crazy, you may want to elevate yourselves on a blanket. So you could fold the blanket and sit on top of the blanket. And the elevation of the pelvis may give you a little more access to this. So try to feel whatever you can feel here in this position. Legs are spread. If you do want to come a little forward, it is with a flat back or a neutral curved back. It is not bending the spine. No bending the spine, no bringing the 10-pound head forward. Let it be your entire body goes forward. If you'd like to take your hands, and I know that not all can do this deep of a stretch. So find whatever's appropriate in your body and let's walk our hands over to one side. Walk your hands over, still keeping that. Now, if you have osteoporosis, super important that you don't let your head come forward of your body and that you don't round your spine. So this is a movement in the hip joint. When you come forward, it's not a spine movement or a head movement. It is a hip joint movement. And then walk yourself over to the other side, just experiencing whatever you experience. Take one more breath. And then we're going to come into soles of the feet together. Soles of the feet together. You can put your hands on the floor right alongside your body. So I don't want you to be back here like this. If your hands are on the floor, it's right alongside your body so you have length in your body. Soles of the feet are together. Feel this stretch wherever you notice this. So warming up those leg muscles. If you want to do a little bit of movement here, you could do a little bit of movement here. And then let's take one leg straight and one is bent. So for some of you, being up on the blanket may feel a little bit more comfortable when you do this and give you a little more access. So you're going to bring the hand forward and remember the spine does not bend. I cannot say that enough. And even though it's counterindicated if you have osteoporosis, some people don't know if they have osteoporosis, but also we live so far forward. Our head is so far forward. Our posture is so poor most of our day for many of us that we don't want to bring that into our practice. So let's really work to keep that nice lengthened spine here. Take your hands, the back of the hand is on either the inner knee joint to keep you nice and tall or the lower leg, depending on whatever you can. And then let's take this other hand behind you, get nice and tall. So we're adding a little rotation. Maybe you feel that in the hip. Maybe you feel that somewhere in your body. Push your heart forward, lower your shoulders. Take one more breath. Now we'll add a little bit of movement with it. So you're going to bring a hand forward and you're not trying to touch your toes. You're not rounding your spine, right? And then you're going to inhale, open. So let's work on posture and warming up those posture muscles. And because our spine is so hydrated now, this will be nice to rotate that upper spine with that hydrated spine. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale to open. Stay here. Stay here. Keep your shoulder down. So don't have your shoulder as a shoulder earring. Lower that shoulder. Get tall. Grow out of your pelvis here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and relax. Let's come to the other side. Take the opposite leg straight. Reach down, grab the flesh. So you move the flesh back. You feel that sits bone nice and supported. Get nice and tall here. If you like to take your hands down, this really helps to get that support in your body. Then you're going to take your hand on the inner leg, the other hand beside you, bringing in that rotation. So bring in rotation to your body. Feel what feels appropriate for you. Breath down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to do the movement now. So we're going to rotate, making sure that we are staying in a safe range of motion for ourselves. Back of the hand is on either the inner knee joint to be nice and tall, or a little lower if you have that ability to flex that hip. Take your hand and let's inhale to open. Exhale to close. Inhale, open. Exhale to close. Inhale. And then one more, we're going to open and stay there. Be as tall as you can. Make sure your shoulder did not become an earring. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. That can be really nice and corrective for the spine too. Some of these movements can be nice and corrective for the spine. All right, let's come on to all fours. So take your blanket, you're going to put your blanket underneath your knees. Coming on to all fours, let's allow the joints to settle. If you need to take your hands a little forward because your wrists are not happy here, or if you need to roll up your mat, rolling up your mat is good. So I would like you to do something for your wrists instead of nothing. So for those of you that have wrist issues, you don't want to never use it, because if you never use it, you lose it and it becomes tight, dehydrated, and not mobile. So that if you do slip or trip or put your hand down, if you don't have that much mobility here, then it's like beef jerky. And if you bend beef jerky, it frays and breaks and cracks. Well, you need mobility here. You need play in your joints so that if you do trip or slip, you need to have that mobility. So if your wrists don't like to bend, roll up the mat or get another blanket, put a blanket underneath to minimize the L shape that comes into the wrist. That's what it is that is hard for people with wrist issues, is to make this like the letter L. So you need to have a little less L. All right. Come on to all fours, move around here. If you'd like to move in a circular pattern, you can move in a circle. You go back to the side, forward to the opposite side, back to the opposite side, forward. Go in a circular pattern in your joints, and then go in the opposite direction. If you spread your fingers and you press your fingers into the floor, I find that it's really nice and balances out that weight in the body. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to do a full movement here. Let me show you this. We're going to come and do a full movement, really stretching our body out, coming into a extension position, and then we're going to come into a flexion position, diagonally, one side and the other. The thing here is if you have osteoporosis, don't do the arm part. So if you have osteoporosis, I only want you to bring the leg in, so the bottom of your body flexes, but not the top. All right? And then some people may want to do fists for wrists here if the wrists don't like this, but I would like us to strengthen our wrists if you can. Pointer fingers are forward. Let's inhale, take the right arm forward and the left leg back. And then inhale to lift them up. Really feel that stretch along the left front leg, along the wherever else you feel it, and then exhale to come in. Inhale. Exhale. Really stretch your body glove. Feel yourself stretching your body, especially the leg in the hip joint. One more. Stay here in your extension position, reach your fingers as long as you can, reach your leg as long as you can, and then exhale, draw your knee to your elbow. Can you touch knee to elbow? Stay there, this is core. And then bring yourself down. So maybe you felt that in your core when you did that, and you may also feel that in your back, working your back muscles. Let's inhale, right leg back, left arm forward, and then inhale, lift up. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Exhale to draw in. Remember, osteoporosis, you're only doing the leg, not the arm. You could come into this if you have osteoporosis, and then you want to keep the arm there. Reach as long as you can. And then exhale, come in, touch if you can. And then go ahead and come out. Let's come all the way up, shake your arms. Take your hands around in a circle in one direction and then in the other. And then take your hands and then take your head side to side. So think about the ear reaching up towards the sky. Really stretch that side neck. And then let's take the opposite arm down. Let your head go. Really stretch this whole area up here. So you're sitting on your heels if you can. If you can't, you could sit in a crisscross leg position, or you could stay up. Reach your hand down, flex your wrist. Turn your heel of your hand away from you. Your fingers are turning back, and then take your hand back. So really stretching that whole line of muscles, ligaments, tendons, fascia, all that stuff that goes all the way to the fingertips from the neck. Reach that right ear, or whatever side you are, reach the ear up towards the sky, lengthen, and then press the arm back. Keep that shoulder down. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up. So this is a nice, long, deep upper back and neck stretch, opening up the side neck, opening up the chest, which we did earlier today in the practice, keeping that chest open, that arm when we turn the fingers back, that's external rotation, really opening up that shoulder joint and that pathway that the nerves travel all the way down to the fingers. Let's do the other side. So you're nice and tall, the ear reaches up towards the sky. Accept this in your body. Take your hand down, so you bring in that first lengthening aspect. Feel that stretch wherever you do. Press your heart forward. And then flex your wrist. Fingers go back. Palm faces away from you. Arm is moving back, so you feel a deeper stretch coming in. See if you can relax on your exhales and allow the stretch, this deep stretch, to take place. Take one more breath. And then you're going to relax. Go slow when you come out of these deep stretches. Take your hands, clasp your hands behind your head. Inhale to open, and then exhale, let your chin go towards your chest. So you're not rounding the upper back, you're just letting your chin come down. Elbows come towards each other. Inhale, open your throat, push your elbows back. So there's a real lot of action here with the elbows back. Slide the shoulder blades towards the spine. Feel that stretch under the armpit area. Maybe you feel a stretch down below the rib cage. Inhale, exhale. Go slow. Feel that stretch down the back of the neck. Inhale. Gaze is up, throat is open, elbows go back, shoulder blades slide towards each other. Exhale. One more. Stay here. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out of that. Take your head, just shake your head. All right. So I would like to do a front body stretch, and I'd like to do a strengthener, a plank pose, because this will get a lot of things at once. So if you have a block, take a block and put a block like this between your hands. If you don't have a block, arms closer than you think. You don't want to be with your elbows wider when you come down. We're going to come into a dolphin plank. So bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders, flatten your feet onto the floor. Come into this position and then draw the low back up towards the sky. So it's the low back, not the upper back. Point the tailbone away from you. Push the belly up towards the spine. So zipper up your midsection from the middle, like you're putting on a super tight pair of jeans. Zipper, zipper, zipper up to your belly. And push your belly up towards your low back. And then push your lower ribs towards the sky. So the front of your body is pushing back. There's a little flexion action in the tummy. Push your knees into the floor, your feet into the floor, and try to slide them up towards your elbows. And then press the elbows into the floor and the hands and the forearm and draw that back towards your knees. So you really fire up those deep flexors in your body. Just experience what you experience here. Feel that heat developing in your body, core work. Keep your head up. Don't let your head dangle, and don't lift it higher than it needs to be. So keep the upper back and the back of your head in alignment. If you need to come down, you can come down. Take one more breath. And then you're going to let your pelvis come closer to the floor. I'd like it to be on a blanket or something so that your hip bones are protected. Doesn't have to be, it's just a nice thing to do. And then you're going to press your arms into the floor, push your arms into the floor, and then slide your rib cage forward. So imagine you're lengthening your rib cage forward, push your heart forward, lift your head up. So the low ribs are pulling away from the floor. And breathe down to your belly. Hopefully you feel a deep stretch in the tissue of the front of the body, the belly. And then I would like you to look over one shoulder. And then slowly bring yourself back to center and look over the opposite shoulder. Go slow here. Feel your neck, feel whatever's stretching. You may feel this all the way down to your psoas, to the lower lumbar spine. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the block out to the side. Let's take a rest for a second here. So take your hands, fold them, let your elbows be wide and let them be forward. So they're not close to your body. You're letting your elbows be as far away from your body as you can. And then you're going to place your forehead on the back of the hand. Bring your awareness to your breath, bring your awareness to your belly, and breathe down to your belly. This helps to relieve the low back. Let's take the forehead onto the floor Take your arms alongside your body. So the elbows are coming right off of the shoulders. The forearms are on the floor, the palms are on the floor, and your elbows are the height of your shoulders or your armpit area. Forehead and nose are touching the floor. Let's inhale to lift the arms up away from the floor. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift the arms up. Think about the backs of the hands lifting. Think about the back of the arm and the elbow lifting. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. And then one more, I'd like you to inhale, stay here. Try to lift your hands, back of the hands up towards the sky. So we began by stretching these muscles, and now we're going to strengthen them. Take one more breath. And then bring your hands onto the floor. Spread your hands wide. So the thumbs are on your mat and your fingers are off your mat. Some of you may need to be a little more forward, so your fingers are in alignment with your cheeks or your forehead. Some of you can go a little back so that the fingers are in alignment with the tops of your shoulders. Just depends on your range of motion. Walk your feet closer together so the big toes touch. Place your forehead into the floor. Lengthen from your tailbone all the way to your crown of your head. Push your hands into the floor. Start to push the hands into the floor and slide them back. So if you push your hands down and you slide them back, you'll feel a release in the spine. Inhale. As you exhale, push your hands down, slide back. And on your next inhale, lift yourself up and go back down on the exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Close your eyes. Push your feet into the floor. The kneecaps can lift off. As you lift up, I'd like you to feel the muscles along your spine trying to lift that heavy head away from the floor. You'll probably feel this all the way down to your low back. Push your pubis bone into the floor to begin to help put your pelvis in a nice position. You can use your hands to push down and slide back towards your feet as well. The next one, I'd like you to come up and stay up. And then I'd like you to lift your hands off the floor. If your body lowered, keep it to where it lowered. You could keep your hands here if you'd like, or you could put them back down. Take one more breath. Take your hands back. Spread your legs as wide as your mat. Place your forehead on the back of the hand. Wiggle your pelvis back and forth, side to side. Bend your knees, bring your feet up towards the sky, and allow the legs to go side to side. Try to be really soft in your muscles. If you'd like to let your legs go around in a circle, opposite circle. Play here with the range of motion in your joints and what feels good to you. See if you could go opposite. One goes in one direction, one goes in the other. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring your arm up and roll onto that side. So it's really interesting because I have a hip replacement. And so when I do the leg circles like that, and I try to turn off my muscles to let gravity and momentum be what moves me, the hip that is a ball, a ceramic ball in plastic, it just goes so wild. The other one, I feel that control of everything, but there's definitely a disconnect. My muscles and nerves don't quite know how to communicate with titanium, ceramic, and plastic. So it's very interesting. And even if you don't have a hip replacement, which many of you don't, it's nice to have this body awareness because that's what helps to keep us nice and safe. Let's take your hand on the floor and bring yourself all the way up to a seated position. And just check in with yourself to see how you feel so far. Hopefully everything we're doing today, even the strengthening parts of the practice, are within a place that is doable and still enjoyable for your body so that you're not pushing too hard. And all of this work that we do like this, all of what I teach, is a lot of maintenance work for our body so it functions at its maximum capacity. And we're working on smaller muscles, which is why some of the times it seems a little bit more gentle, is because we're going into smaller muscles and they don't require a lot to be stretched or to be worked. All right, we're gonna come down into the floor, so please make sure that you have a block. Make sure you have a block, make sure you have a strap with you. And then we're gonna come down to the floor. So if you'd like, you could come to the side, especially if you have osteoporosis, and bring yourself down. Or for those of you that don't, you could do a little test with your core strength to bring yourself down and place one vertebra at a time onto the floor. And then bring yourself all the way down. Just let your body settle here in this position. Let gravity come from above. Let yourself come into this nice relaxed position here. And then we're going to bend your knees. Bring your arms out to the side in that scarecrow position. Let's do a little more for the hip and actually bring some of that stretching now up into the waist area and some of those core muscles as you allow your legs to go side to side. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's draw one knee in, hold on to one leg. So if you could clasp your hands and put your hands on top of the shin, I'd like you to try that. If the knee doesn't like that much pressure, you could hold on underneath your hamstring. And then if you can straighten the opposite leg, try to straighten that opposite leg. So you could rest here, letting everything settle and release. Or if you'd like, you could bring your nose to your knee. And if you have osteoporosis, or even, it's definitely more precarious with osteoporosis than it is with osteopenia. But I'm going to say that osteoporosis, no lifting of the head. Osteopenia, you decide. All right, let's inhale here. As you exhale, you bring your knee to your nose. And then you bring yourself down. Go slow. There's a pretty big stretch that comes into the opposite leg, maybe. One more. Bring yourself down. Take your hand onto that knee and take that knee around in a circle in the opposite direction. Take the opposite arm out to the side. That'll help to stabilize the body. And then take the leg and move the leg straight out to the side. That's that inner thigh. Bring the leg across the body, out to the side. Feel all the different aspects of stretching. And here we're doing something unilaterally, so one side at a time. And then take that leg and put that foot on the floor. Let's switch. Bring the other leg in, clasping onto the leg or underneath. So deciding what's appropriate for you. Straighten your leg. Inhale. Exhale to bring the knee to the nose if you're going to. Go slow too, so you can let that deep stretch come in. And then let's go ahead. Oh, we didn't do the circle, right, for this one, so let's do the circle now. It's okay if it's out of sequence.
It doesn't have to be complicated. When I first started practicing yoga, I used to think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do if I'm not in a class. So it's really about moving your body. It's just about moving the joints and feeling. If you get to the place where you really develop your internal body awareness, your interoception, let's let that leg go out to the side and across. So when you come to practice, if you tap into feeling what is stretching and what is moving, that's what you need to do. Match your breath with the movement and you're practicing yoga. And then let's go ahead, bring that foot onto the floor, take the other leg, grab your strap. We're going to stretch the leg. So take your strap, let's do the right leg first. So we're going to take your strap, see if you could touch your toes and place the strap onto your foot. And bring the strap right where the arch of the foot is. And then slide your hands down, wrap your hands around so you have a nice firm hold. So it's your choice if you'd like to straighten the opposite leg or not. And it's your choice if you'd like to keep the knee slightly bent as you reach the leg back. If you want to strengthen your pelvis, that we do this in our Yoga for Osteoporosis classes. If you'd like to strengthen the pelvis, you need the knee to be straight when you do this. So if your intention is to create bone stimulation in your pelvic bone, then you want your legs straight when you reach back. And if your intention is to deepen the stretch in the hamstring, you could bend your knee. So both will stretch the hamstring. One of them pulls on the bones when it's stretching, and one stretches the belly of the muscle. So just decide what's appropriate for you. Take one more breath. And then let's go ahead, bring yourself out of that. Take your hand, so take the opposite hand of the leg in the strap. So we have the right leg in the air, take the left hand in the strap. Bring the right leg straight above you. Now we're gonna stretch the posterior hip. So we're gonna stretch the outer hip. If you have a hip replacement and it's a lateral, posterior, so your incision is on the back of your body, back here, not the one here. The one here is anterior, this is posterior. So if you do have that, you're gonna pay attention to how this is feeling, okay? All right, so the leg is straight. You're gonna bring the leg right above your body and you're going to direct the leg across your body. So the only thing moving over is the leg, not the body. Only this leg bone is moving over. And hopefully you get to a place where you feel a lot of intensity pretty quickly as you're stretching this big bend of tissue that goes to that knee. So you're gonna stretch over to the side, see what you're feeling. Now, if you want to go a little deeper and do a deeper stretch in that side leg, you could take the leg all the way over if you'd like. Now with posterior hips, I don't do this on my other side, which is my hip replacement side. I have a posterior. So I don't think I recommend this. My doctor told me I could do anything, but I'm like, really? Has he seen what I do? Because I don't know if he'd be okay with this. So posterior hip, be careful. If you don't, this is a great way to stretch this tissue. And then when you're in this leg bone, your upper leg bone, push it away from your face with your muscles. So inside your body, get longer in your right waist. Push that top leg bone away from you. That may be intense. So see what feels appropriate to you. Take one more breath. And then bring your leg back up to center. Let's take your hand in the strap. I'd like you to stretch your ankle. So the kneecap stays pointing back. The kneecap does not move at all. The only thing you're moving is your ankle joint. You're gonna pull on the strap that's in the left hand and then pull on the strap that's in the right hand. Pull on the strap in the left hand and in the right hand. Get your ankle joint to mobilize. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take that leg out. We're going to do the other leg. So bring your foot as close as you could get it so that you touch the toes. The left leg now, put the strap in the arch. Slide your hands down, wrap your hands around. Your choice if you're going to straighten your right leg. See what's appropriate. Your choice if you're going to bend your knee or keep it straight as you come into that deep stretch. Pulling back towards the wall behind you. Deep breaths here. Take one more breath. Then you're going to soften. You're going to take the strap in your right hand because we've got our left leg in the air. Slide your hand down. Keep your leg right above your body. So try not to have it too far away. Have it right above you, even if you need to bend the knee a little bit. And then you're going to let your leg go over to the right. Feel that side of your leg. Feel that stretch. So you only go a little at first. And then if you'd like to go farther, so when I do this, I bend, I actually let my, I don't want you to let your body be a part of this. I want it to be just the leg that goes. But when you go a little farther over, there is rotation that comes into the low back. So make sure it's appropriate. I just get a little bit cautious with this. Right? So feel that stretch in the side of your body here. Create space in your waist, pushing that leg bone away with the muscles of your body. Bending the knee will take that lever and shorten that lever so it's not quite as intense. So it is important to stretch and to move body parts and to not avoid completely anything. If you have issues, you may need to modify and still do some kind of range of motion because we need to keep that mobility in our bodies. And then take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up. We're going to do the ankle joint, taking the strap. You're going to do one side at a time, pulling on one side of the strap at a time. The knee stays stationary. Don't let the knee move. And then let's go ahead, take the strap off. Get your block. Let's do a little elevation of the pelvis to end. So I'd like you to do a little pelvic stretching too. So take the block and I want you to tilt your pelvis. So you first place the top of the pelvis onto the block and then you let the rest of your pelvis go. This will be a nice deep stretch for the pelvis and it helps to stabilize it. So for anybody that has a pelvis that's a little off alignment, which some of us do, and if you'd like to take your hands on your hip bones, you could press down on one hip bone at a time, helping to settle the pelvis. Noticing if you feel stretch in one side versus the other. Deep breaths to your belly, like the Sukha Pranayama, where we focus That's the breath of peace, but it's the Adhyam Pranayama where we're breathing down to the lower ribs. Adhyam Pranayama. Take one more breath. It's time to come into the Shavasana position. So you're going to walk your feet a little back, take your block out. We're going to come down into Shavasana, any Shavasana you'd like. If you'd like to get your props and end with the pillow underneath your knees, that's a nice way to end, letting the rest of your body be on the ground. So get yourself into whatever it is you're going to come into. And then relax, relax, relax. 고민내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에야 감해 고민내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에야 감해 고민내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에 약함에 고백내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에 약함에 고백내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에 약함에 고백네 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에 약함에 고백네 무겁네 우다래야 바래 가리엄 가리엄 내 맘에 약함에 고백내 무겁네 우다래야 바래 Bringing your awareness to your breath, deepen your breath. Noticing how your body feels. Bring your awareness to your toes. Can you feel any tingling or movement in the toes? Take your head, let your head go side to side. And bringing your awareness to your fingers, your toes as you bring movement. Point your feet, flex your feet. And then draw the knees into the chest, rocking side to side. And then coming onto your side, push yourself up to a seated position. We're going to finish by closing the practice with sound. We'll use the sound like the letter M. Bring your hands together, touching the chest near the heart with the thumbs. Lengthen your spine, feel your pelvis nice and heavy, sits bones are in the floor. We're going to do the sound. So let's prepare, take an exhale, an inhale. Bowing in Namaste. Thank you. Well, I know that I feel pretty good. And I wanted to say that I have a relatively pain-free body at this point in life. And I attribute it to all of this. All of the movement, the stretching, keeping my body strong in all layers of my muscles, those deep stabilizers. So I hope you guys feel good. Yeah, Carolyn, isn't that nice? My rose, so pretty. I can't remember the name of that one, but I'll tell you, it just smells delicious too, which is great because I love when they smell good, not just look good, but smell good. All right, I am going to go because I have a class in 10 minutes. So I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next class. All right, talk to you later. Bye.